Hello, everybody. My name is Sol. I'm a geek and I'm Hispanic. I'm here today joined with.
My name is Jonathan North, and I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, like your favorite movie, animated movie, and just a little about yourself.
Well, I'm a huge animation fan. I I really like Disney, Pixar, but I like a lot of other things too. Anything that is just a good story. My favorite animated movie, is probably Fantasia. Uh, I
Ooh.
I just I think that movie is so beautiful and artistic, and I have a lot of childhood memories attached to it. So just everything about Fantasia is like, I don't want to say it's like the pinnacle of everything artistic in animation, but like it's right up there, and I really like it.
The first Fantasia or the second one?
The first one.
Okay. Cool. That's great. So today we have an exciting video because we'll be ranking our top 20 Pixar films, right?
Yes.
Ranking our top 20 Pixar films. And, this is one of my first time talking to Jonathan. I mean, we do also a podcast with Rachel Wagner called, what's the name again?
I think she has it
Talking.
captioned as Talking Tunes News.
I'll link in the description below if you guys want to listen to that. But this is our first time just kind of like talking, chatting. So I don't know how his list is going to be. I hope it's similar because if not, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know. It'd be also interesting to have different ones. But I'm very excited. So let's just start this with our lowest one, the worst Pixar film of all time. What do you have?
Well, I will put it out there first that even
Uh-huh.
though this is the worst, I don't dislike any Pixar film. Even the ones that I think are the lower ones, I still like them. So
Mhm.
that being said, my
Mhm.
least favorite is Cars.
The
The
first
first
one?
Cars. Yes. I
Oh,
just
no. No, go ahead.
I I just if I'm gonna watch any of the movies, it's like the one that comes to my mind last. I just
Mhm.
found it kind of boring. But I didn't grow up like loving cars. I had Hot Wheels toys and everything, but
Right.
I wasn't that into cars like a lot of other guys. So that's probably why it's not that high on my list. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still a good movie. I still think it has merit. I still think it's funny. Still think that if I sat down to watch it, I would enjoy it all the way through. So even though it's last on my list, I still like it.
Well, for me, it's like, I don't know. I, growing up, really liked the first Cars film. It was weird. It's a weird concept if you think about it. It's like, how do they eat? How do they go to the bathroom? Like, so many things. You don't want to think about it too much. You just gotta go with it.
Yeah, you gotta
Um,
go with it.
and I don't know if you've been to the Disneyland park. They have a
Mm-mm.
Cars Land, and I'm obsessed with it. Love it. So I don't know. I really like the first Cars. I can't say the same thing about the other two. I think the first one for me is like a 7. I definitely think it's a low, slow story and all that. But I do appreciate the concept. I do appreciate its creativity. And I think it's an entertaining story. It's not an epic one, but it's higher on my list. Now, talking about my least favorite Pixar film, it's The Good Dinosaur. I even when the trailers came out, I was like so disappointed because the concept was interesting. Don't get me wrong. The fact that what if dinosaurs had lived? When they brought this pitch, I was expecting something completely different. Kind of like humans, like us humans, like more like advanced, developed humans interacting with dinosaurs, and because at first it was kind of like they were farming together, but then there were all these problems in development and they sort of changed it. And for me, it wasn't interesting to see this, prehistoric human acting kind of like a dog with the dinosaur. I feel like the story could have had way more potential for me and make it something new and more interesting. And I felt the story was super similar to like a bajillion other stories I've seen before. It like got things from the Lion King. I saw it was so much like Brother Bear and like all these other films, and I didn't find it original. And oh my gosh, the animation for me was absolutely horrible. The background gorgeous, but the actual character animation was plastic. Like I couldn't believe it was Pixar doing this, and I was like, how can you have, I understand maybe it's a style, having background so realistic and the characters so plasticky, but I was like, when I saw the T-Rexes, I was like cringing. I was like, no, not feeling this. I didn't get any emotion from this film. So that's why it's in my lowest one. That's my opinion. What do you think?
Well, that one's higher up for me, but I love dinosaurs, so I'm able to forgive it more.
Okay.
I do think it has a lot of story problems, and it definitely could have been way better. And I'm sad that it didn't end up in like my top 5 or even in my top 10 because I love dinosaurs and I love Pixar. I thought that would be like the perfect match.
Yeah.
So I do have it higher than you, but it's not one of my favorites. But
Okay.
again, I like all the Pixar movies, so I still like it.
Okay, moving on. For 19, I have Cars 2. So I can see we don't like Cars that much. But Cars 2 for me, I only saw it once, don't remember much about it. And I was like, this is just a weird concept. It's not terrible. No, I don't know. I feel like Cars 2, it just felt something that should have not been a sequel and more of like a straight to DVD kind of thing. I felt like it's just not cohesive with the story of the first one. It just feels like two different tones. And as a movie itself, I don't think it's terrible, but I just feel it's very bizarre.
That one is much higher for me, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'll save my thoughts for when we actually get there.
Okay, no, I agree. Perfect.
For my 19, people are probably going to hate me for this.
Okay. There's no hate here.
I have Toy Story.
Okay.
The original Toy Story.
I don't have a problem with that.
When that came out, I think I was 9, and we didn't go to the theater until I was in my teens. So I didn't see it when it came out. I don't think the library got it right away. So that was how we saw movies, was when the library got it, then we watched it. So I didn't see it right away. I didn't see it till I was in my teens. And I think that's kind of past the point where like the nostalgia is going to supersede any problems. And like the animation is fine, but like you can tell everything looks very plasticky, which is fine, I guess, since they're toys. And it does have a good story. Like I said, I don't hate any Pixar movie, so I still like it. It's just, it's very mediocre compared to my favorite ones.
No, I completely agree, actually, because like I grew up with Toy Story, whatever, but it was never one of my favorite ones. Like I would always be like, I'd rather watch something else. And I don't know. It's just for me, Toy Story, I prefer the sequels way more than the first one.
Yeah.
I do understand the story is appealing. It's just, I know a majority of people have it in their top 3. And I'm like, is it because of nostalgia? I don't know.
Probably.
Because honestly, yes, the story is very nice. But again, the animation, I cringe. But it's like the Snow White of Pixar. You know, it's the first CGI movie. I understand its historical importance. But if I have to go and watch it, it wouldn't be one of my first picks from Pixar, honestly. I totally agree with you. So
okay, good.
Up next, I have, this one, I don't know, Brave. I like the animation, gorgeous hair, yes, wonderful music, but the story, again, it happened the same thing with the Good Dinosaur. I feel like I was literally watching Brother Bear, and I was like, but in a bad way. I just didn't feel it. The story felt weak for me. The animation is gorgeous. I love the music, but I think the story was a big miss. And I had high hopes for this film because I remember watching the trailers, and being like, this is going to be empowering and awesome, and I can't wait. And maybe because I went with too many high expectations, but it just didn't land for me. No.
Yeah, I think high expectations will kill a movie like Brave because I don't want to skip ahead, but Brave is my next one after 18.
Oh, okay.
So
we're kind of close. Nice.
So I'll tell my thoughts when we get there. We'll do my 18 first.
Perfect.
For 18, I have Cars 3.
Okay, perfect.
Which, again, it's a good movie. I liked it. I really liked some of the supporting characters. Miss Fritter is she's like my favorite Cars character of all time. She's hilarious. I loved Miss Fritter. I really liked Cruz. I really like the actress who plays Cruz, Christella. She had a short-lived sitcom that I really liked, and it got canceled after one season. So it was nice to hear her again. But like, I feel for the most part, I feel about the movie the same way I felt about the first Cars. It was fine. It wouldn't be one of my first choices to rewatch, but if I had to sit down and watch it, I would enjoy myself.
All I have to say is, who asked for Cars 3? Anyone? 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 Just John Lasseter?
I think it probably was one of those things where they know they're going to make bank on merch
Yeah.
because little
Oh, they
kids
sell so
like
much.
cars and little kids will buy the Cars toys.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the driving force behind that decision. I mean, if you're going to make a movie designed to sell toys, at least make it good, and I think they did.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the third one for me. It's like, I know you like Cruz, but I really dislike her. Like, the entire time she was the biggest obstacle. Like, instead of training him, he was making him worse. And like, it just frustrated me. I was with like McQueen's side the entire time. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's like making you worse. And like, you're teaching her when she's supposed to be teaching you. And I was just mad. I was like, she's just in the way the entire time.
I
And
think
like, the end was so satisfying for me. Like, yes, of course, girl power. I was so here for it, for the girl to finally win. But I was like, I don't know. I wanted him to have like his last, chance and maybe pass on the torch to her. But like, it just, the end didn't feel satisfying to me, and it feels super weird. The fact that like when he changed his colors to be like Doug Hudson, that felt really weird to me. Like, just because you admire someone doesn't mean you have to relive their life. You can like admire someone and live your own life. You shouldn't copy the other person to honor them. I don't know, it just felt very bizarre to me.
yeah, the end wasn't perfect, but
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine. And
Yeah.
I think a big part of the reason that I liked Cruz was because I liked Christella. And I
Mm,
knew that she was going to be that character, so I
okay.
was just happy to
Yeah.
hear her doing something. So maybe if I didn't know that, maybe I would feel differently. Because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that does affect how I feel about a character if I really like the actor or
Yeah.
actress. So that probably played a part in how I felt about the
The
character.
animation is gorgeous though. When they put like
Oh
that
yeah.
metal red thing on top of like, I don't know. Oh, it was so like satisfying. I think they did a wonderful job with the animation in that one though. My next one is, it's not about a film. It's just personal taste. Bug's Life. I don't think it's about a film, but it's just not a story that I would go back and rewatch many times.
That one is higher on my list. I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably explain more about it when we get there.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So mine,
What
of
do you
course,
have?
is Brave for 17.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I probably agree with most everything you said. The fact that it had so many story problems, I think, played a big part in why it wasn't as good as it should have been. Because, like, it had so much potential. I really like Merida as
Mm-hmm.
a character.
Oh, for sure.
I like the concept. I loved the witch. The witch was, I thought she was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
The movie was gorgeous. Like, everything about the movie was gorgeous. I love Scotland. I've never been there. I really
Mm-hmm.
want to, but every time I see something like this, it makes me want to go even more. So I loved that aspect of it. But like as far as the story itself, it was just meh. It was fine. And
Completely
I
agree.
wish it would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like if I have to sit down and watch it, I'm not going to have a bad time. I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. I want to know what Brenda Chapman's version would have been before they moved her into like whatever lower position. I want to see what her version of the movie would have been before they decided that it wasn't good enough. Because
I
I think
agree.
if they let directors have their way, I think the movie is going to be the best it can be.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know what it was, and I probably won't ever know what it was, so I
Yeah.
can't say that for
There were
sure.
so many troubles during production, so
Yeah,
it shows. It
yeah.
definitely does show. So up next, I have one that I'm gonna get a lot of hate, but it's fine. Up. Up. It's a film that I only seen once as a kid. I should rewatch it. It's just, for me, I feel like a lot of people just really like it because of the first 10 minutes. Yes, it's a super touching, super wonderful music, iconic music. Um, Beautiful like animation in the beginning, but after those 10 minutes I just felt the story was super bizarre, and I was like, what is happening with these talking dogs with the colors and the tennis balls? I just have this feeling, it's like that just was weird. I don't know, it's just like I feel a lot of people are like, they have it very hyped because of those 10 minutes and they don't see the full picture. But again, I understand my opinion might not be perfect because I haven't seen it since I was a kid and I should rewatch it again. But that's my impression as of now. Yeah.
I haven't seen Up for years. I
Mm-hmm.
have it higher on my list,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm wondering if it's because I have the feelings from the first 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to rewatch again because I do remember that it got really bizarre in the middle,
Yeah.
but like the beginning and the end were really good. And when I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, like I put this list together, most of these I haven't seen in years. I put this list together
Right.
based on how I feel looking back at the movies, like would I really want to rewatch this one right now? What are
Mm-hmm.
my memories of how I felt when I was watching it? So I remember I loved Up when it came out, so it got to be higher on my list. I'm wondering, like, if I sat down and rewatched every single Pixar movie, I wonder where it would end up being put. But for now, like, and with my memories, nostalgia, whatever, it is going to be higher on my list.
I completely agree. Yeah, this my list also. Some of these films I haven't seen in years, so I completely agree. Up. Oh wait, did you say yours?
No, for
Okay,
my
for
16, I
16.
have Monsters University.
Okay.
So I do really like Monsters University. We're getting to the point where it was really hard for me to decide which order to put these in. It
Mm-hmm.
so happens that that one ended up being lower than some of the others that were I was choosing between.
Yeah.
I really like Monsters University. I think it's super creative with all the monster characters. I loved the dean. I can't remember her name, but the one that looked like
Yeah.
a dragon
She's
thing.
scary. Yeah.
I loved her design. It was so cool and creepy. Yeah, just I think the Monsters Inc. world is so creative, and I really like all those characters and the world. It just
Mm-hmm.
so happens that I like other ones better, so it got pushed down the list.
I don't know. For me, I do like Monsters University. I had fun in the film, not gonna lie, and it was interesting to see like, oh, how this friendship came to be and all that stuff, like the little references and like foreshadowing from like the Monsters Inc. one, like when they meet the what's his name, the abominable snowman. You know, those little
Mhm.
things I liked, but I just feel like everyone. I mean, I'm talking about myself actually, but I feel like in general, people were more interested to see what happened to Boo rather than how this friendship came to be. I would have liked more of like what happened when he opened that door. I was more interested in that than knowing how they became friends. So that's why, I mean, I have it high up on my list because I did find it enjoyable, but I don't think it's something that I was like, oh, this is satisfying. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I still like the world. I like the story. It was fun, but I just didn't feel it's like, oh, super creative or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, up next I have Cars 3, which we just talked. So I mean it's 15. It's not terrible. So yeah, I mean I can't believe I have Cars 3 over Up now that I think about it. But okay, I made this list a while back, but it's fine. We're just gonna go with it.
Yeah. For 15, I have Monsters Inc. I like it just about as much as Monsters University.
Mhm.
My thoughts about it are pretty much the same as for Monsters University. I think it's really creative. I love the world. I like the characters. It's an overall good movie.
Yeah, I think it's like that movie really represents what Pixar was about. That was finding a concept that a lot of people could relate and like expand it and make it creative. Like how many kids think there's a monster under their bed or a
Yeah.
closet? Like it's such a relatable thing, and they made a whole movie and world about it. Same thing
Yeah.
with Toy Story. Like as a kid, I really thought that if I look fast, my toys were gonna move. You know, I think it's very relatable, and I think that was like a moment where Pixar was very into that, making relatable stories and like expand the world. So I do really like that about that film. It's super creative, it's super original, but it's not a film I necessarily go back and rewatch, but I do appreciate what it is.
Hmm.
Up next, we have 14, Finding Dory. Finding Dory for me, it's a movie that not many people ask for. It's just Ellen DeGeneres that really wanted this. Let's be real. Um, I did like it. Baby Dory, it's the most adorable thing in the world.
Yeah.
Love her, 100%. And they were very, like, the scene with the shells. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful and like, super, like, touching. But I just didn't feel it was, like, how can I say this? didn't need to be made, you know? Like, I'm glad it was made because it's fun and it's really touching and sweet and fun. I love the seals. What are the names? Or Becky also. There were many funny characters, but at some points I felt like there were too many characters, you know?
Hmm.
But I do like the octopus. He was funny. Like, again, I enjoyed this film quite a lot. I love the animation, but it wasn't one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's higher on my list.
Mhm.
But I think that probably has more to do with I really like movies when they have great aesthetics, and Finding
Mhm.
Dory was gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
So
for
I
sure.
think that really pushed it up the list for me.
Mhm.
I love underwater things.
Mhm.
Like going when I go to the zoo, the aquarium is one of my favorite places to go. So I think that
Mhm.
has a lot to do with why I like both Finding Dory and Finding Nemo so much. Yeah, that
Perfect.
one's higher on my list, so we can talk more when
Yeah.
we get there.
What do you have for
For-
14?
Yeah, for that's where I have the Good Dinosaur. It's
Oh wow, pretty
I
high up.
I love dinosaurs, so
Mhm.
if I didn't like dinosaurs as much, I think I would be a lot more hard on this movie
Mhm.
because there's so much about this movie that I could love. Like the backgrounds, they're like photorealistic,
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
beautiful. The designs of the dinosaurs, I
Horrible.
want them to be better. Like they're fine, but they look too cartoony, and I wish that they were better. I was
Mhm. They look
hoping for
cheap.
something less silly looking, but like it has good moments, and I do enjoy it, and I like dinosaurs, so
I like
that's why it's
dinosaurs
higher on my
over
list.
you. That's great. 13. I have Monster University. We talked about it, so it's pretty high up there. I don't know why is Monster University about Finding Dory. Honestly, I think both of these are in the same spot for me. I don't know. I just put one on top of the other one just
Yeah,
because. But
that's
they're like the same for me, honestly. Like they're
I
both enjoyable sequels.
I think for 14, 15, and 16, Good Dinosaur, Monsters Inc., Monster University, I think they're all roughly about the same for me. Like a bunch of these, like it's a group of films that I really had trouble figuring out which order to put them in. For 13, I have Toy Story 2.
Okay.
Um, I like that one a lot better than Toy Story. I
I
thought
agree.
that the animation had improved quite a bit at that point because
Mm-hmm.
they Pixar improved. I think Pixar improved like exponentially after Toy
Oh,
Story. They just
for
kept getting
sure.
better and better and better. So I think the animation had improved. I think that the story was way better. I loved Jessie. Her backstory was like tragic and heartbreaking, and I loved her song. The
Oh yeah,
Loved Me. That's
super
like
relatable.
yeah, it's like an iconic Pixar song. It's so
Mm-hmm.
good. It stands up there with like some of even Disney's best songs.
For sure, I
So
agree.
yeah, Toy Story 2, I liked it way better than Toy Story.
I love the humor of Toy Story 2. Like
Mhm.
my sister and I quote it so much. Like the whole like Zerg like doing the whole like Star Wars. No, it's so great. I love it. So weird and I don't know. Toy Story 2 is like for me way more enjoyable. And can we talk
Mhm.
about how satisfying is that scene of the guy painting Woody again and like fixing him
Oh
up?
yeah, I've seen that online recently. Like, you go on Reddit at all? There's
Yeah.
a subreddit for like most satisfying things or something. And the last like in the last month, I keep seeing people posting that scene. It's like this is so satisfying. I love this.
I just growing up as a kid, I was like, that's so cool. I don't know.
Yeah,
What I love about the Toy Story franchise, it just gets better and better and better. I don't
yeah.
know if it's gonna be the same thing with Toy Story 4,
We'll
but
see.
we'll see. We'll see about that. But okay, moving on. For 12, I have Toy Story. So again, as you can see, we both agree that the first one and then the second, like they all get better as they go on.
Hmm.
So that's what I have for 12.
Okay, for 12, this is where I have A Bug's Life.
Okay.
A Bug's Life, it probably would be lower for me, except I watched A Bug's Life a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I think the library got it not long after it came out in the theater, and we checked it out multiple times. I remember one of my cousins had a copy of it on VHS, and like, our families did not own that many D- VHSs back then. I want to say DVDs, but it was tapes back then.
Hmm.
So that was kind of a novelty, and the fact that she owned that made it seem more special to us, I guess. So
Right.
like we watched it a lot. We might have even taped it off the TV. So we would use the VCR to tape different movies. I think we might have taped that one. So we watched A Bug's Life a lot.
Hmm.
So I think that one is probably clouded by nostalgia for me, which is why it's not lower, because I think if I hadn't watched it so much, I don't think I would like it as much, because
Right.
it's still in Pixar's infancy. The character designs are more kind of plasticky looking.
Hmm.
Like it's probably the most noticeable with the bird, which is not as feathery looking as it should. But
Yeah.
like there's so many great scenes in it. It's funny, and we all like really liked Heimlich, and I really liked the ending with how Hopper got his comeuppance by being eaten by baby birds. We all thought that was hilarious. So yeah, that one is higher than some of other people would put it, probably because of that. But yeah, I really like A Bug's
But I
Life.
don't know. I just think Bugs Life is very creative and original. It's just something for me. It's sort of like taste. It's like there's two shirts. They're both very nice, but you would prefer one towards the other because you have a
Mhm.
different like style. It doesn't mean both of the shirts are one is better than the other one necessarily. It's just something
Mhm.
about taste, and I think that's about Bugs Life. I think it's super original, super creative. The world they created, the small details they have, it's amazing. It's just for me not a film that I would rewatch many times because it's not, the colors or the story in general is not my, you know, style necessarily. But I do think it's a solid film for sure.
Mhm.
Um, for 11, I have Cars. So again, I have it up there actually. Because growing up when it came out, it was one of my favorite films for a long time. I really like Cars for some reason. I like Lightning McQueen a lot. Um, but it's just nostalgia. I know that for sure. I know it's not that solid, but it's my number 11. What do you have for 11?
For number 11 for me, that's where I have Toy Story 3. And I think it's the best of the Toy Story movies.
I agree.
Um, it's like it's so different than the other Toy Story movies. I think this one feels more like it was written specifically with adults in mind,
Yeah.
especially like maybe young adults like who are like going off to college. When it came out, it was like I think I was just out of college, so I was still in that area where I felt like it was more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything about it I thought was better than the other Toy Story movies. I thought it was such a good movie. It's my favorite of the Toy Story movies. Um, there are other Pixar movies that I like better than it, so it isn't quite as high as it will be for some people.
Perfect.
But I still really like Toy Story 3.
No, I think Toy Story 3 is absolutely amazing. The fact that they made Andy grow up at the same time as kind of like the audience, it's
Mm-hmm.
brilliant. And I feel like almost everyone cried in the end scene when like it's just like because it's just so relatable and
Mm-hmm.
it is just great. And I think it's super entertaining. The story, the animation, it's gorgeous. I just think they tied the ending so perfectly. That's why I'm like, why is there a fourth one?
Yeah, I
Because I
feel the
think the
same
third
way.
one wrapped up so perfectly.
It was like
But
the perfect trilogy. It's like, why do we need a
mhm,
fourth one? I will see it, of course,
of
but
course.
I'm holding my breath because I'm afraid it's
Mhm.
not going to be as good as the other three.
Yeah. So we're finally on the top 10. So for top 10, I have Toy Story 2. Again, we talked briefly about it, and it's just so fun and again very quotable and funny. And like you said, the introduction, the song with Jesse is great. So what do you have for 10?
This is where everyone is going to disagree with me so
Go
much.
ahead, say it.
This is where I have Cars 2.
Oh wow,
I think Cars 2 is the
wow,
best of the Cars trilogy. I
wow. Okay, I'm
I
very
love
curious
the
to know your
idea
opinion.
of turning this world that was based like around small town, and seeing what would happen if you set a spy movie in the middle of that. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was so creative. I loved all the spy gadgets. I loved the new characters. I'm not one that hates Mater. I don't think he's the best character in the series, but I do think he's funny. And I
Mm-hmm.
really liked what they did with his character. I thought they had a great, um, not really a twist, but like the reveals at the end, like who the bad guys were, what their plans were. I thought that was all really creative. I thought Cars 2 was super creative all the way through, and I really enjoyed it. It's the only one of the Cars trilogy that like I would, if somebody wanted to watch a Pixar movie that one would come into my mind long before the other two Cars movies.
Mhm.
I think it's creative and I think it's fun and I really enjoy it.
I do agree with you. Like, they did take a risk, so I appreciate that. That's for sure. For some people it worked clearly, and some people it didn't. So, but it's nice for a company to take a risk. So that's cool. I'm very like, because you're one of the first people I hear that they prefer the second one over the other two. So I think that's fascinating. So that's pretty cool. And don't be ashamed. Like, everyone has their own opinion, and I totally respect it. So up next for number 9, right? I have
Mhm.
Monsters Inc. We talked about it already. So yeah, cute movie. Very creative world. Again, it's just, for me, it's up there not because of a rewatchable, because I've seen it very few times, but I just love the concept. Super creative.
Mhm.
The thing they bring the doors in, and just
Mhm.
the thing that measures the screams. It's just, all the details are so intricate and like wonderful. I think that's really great.
It's one of the
World
most
building.
creative worlds.
Yeah. So what do you
And
have for 9?
for 9, I have Finding Dory.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, I love the underwater aesthetic. I think it is so beautiful. I really like Dory. Like, I know people say, "Oh, this movie only got made because Ellen DeGeneres wanted it," but like, that's fine with me because I really liked her as Dory. I thought that was like perfect casting.
Yeah.
Just Ellen DeGeneres has such a naturally bubbly personality. Like, she's
Mm-hmm.
perfect for the slightly ditzy but kind and loving Dory. And Dory is up there in my favorite Pixar characters. And the movie was not perfect, but it was beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. And I have no problem rewatching that one. So that's why it gets to be so high on my list.
Yeah, it has a rewatchable factor. I
Yeah.
do agree on that. Yeah,
And
for
like you
sure.
said, Baby Dory. Baby Dory is like, that's one of the cutest things I've ever seen.
So cute. And you find out how the Just Keep Swimming song came to be.
Yeah.
I like when they have like those little nods. I really like that. So for, I'm so terrible about the number stuff. So we're in number 8, right?
Yep.
Number 8 is, for me, The Incredibles. Um, Also, for me, when this movie came out, was my favorite for a long, long time. When I watched it recently, I was like, this is kind of slow. This is matter. It's I don't know. I just felt like the pacing could have been better. But for me, Incredibles is still such a creative concept. It felt way more adult, and I like that. I like the characters. I like that they did a superhero movie before it was cool to do superhero movies,
Hmm.
but I like that they focus so much on the family dynamic. I think that's super relatable, and although the animation it's kind of cringy, because it was one of the first ones, I do think it's a very solid film that with a lot of fun action, and Edna Mode is literally, look at her, she's right here. One of my all-time favorite characters. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be her for Halloween this year. So
Oh, that'll be a great costume.
yes. So also, fun fact: my birthday is November 15, and Edna Mode literally, in one of her scenes, when she's quoting the people who died because of the capes, she goes November 15. So I'm like, yes, me. I don't know. Just this film, it's great for me. I don't know. What do you think?
That one is higher on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But for number 8, that's where I have Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Like, it was really hard for me to pick which one I liked more because, like, I think Finding Nemo has the better story. Finding Dory has the better looks
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Yeah,
newer.
I
So
agree.
I put Finding Nemo higher because, in the end, story is what matters most.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like for me, they're both right up there with each other. I really like both of them. Just everything about them is beautiful, and I really like the story, and I really like the
Finding
characters.
Nemo, it's higher up for me because, oh my gosh, this is one of the first Pixar films, and they did this like animation. It's hard, and the fact that they did it an underwater water, it's super
Hmm.
hard in animation, super duper hard, and 90% of this film takes place underwater. So it's crazy to see all the corals, all the diversity of fish. I love the look of Finding Nemo. I love the characters, the story. For me, it's not a very rewatchable film. I watched it a lot growing up, and I really liked it. I think it has a very strong story, lovely characters, and it's higher up on my list. But I do agree with you. It's a great film. It's a great film.
Hmm.
Okay, up next we have number 7, Incredibles 2. What? I like the sequel more than the first one. Okay, so hear me out. The first one, I think it's great. And I don't know, it's just, the second one for me was more, I love the family dynamic more because it felt more, there was more flaws. I feel like there was more heart also between the kids as well, because in the first one, yes, you do see Violet a little bit, but in this one you see her more, and I like that. I just like the family dynamic of it more. I hated the villain. I felt it was super cliche and horrible, and they did, but the animation was phenomenal. Like that scene with like Screenslaver, and it was spooky and scary, and it felt darker, and like I don't know. I just, maybe because it was new to me and it was more exciting, and I know what happens in the first one, and I've seen it so many times that it's just not as exciting compared to this one. Maybe it's that, but I do enjoy the sequel quite a lot. It's not perfect, not at all, especially the last act. I think it falls a bit like too fast, and it's a bit random, and Jack it's funny, but at some points like maybe too much Jack. I don't know. I think I have it higher up there because I watched it recently, and it's just, I don't know, fresher in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that. But I do think both the original and this one are both very enjoyable films.
Yeah, mine's higher up there too, so I'll talk about my thoughts when we get there.
Sure.
For number 7, I have Up. Like I said before, I really remember loving this movie when it came out. I have not seen it in years, so maybe I would feel different now, but I thought it had great characters. I liked the ideas that were in the film. Of course, the first 10 minutes were so good, and I really liked how it ended. I liked Kevin the bird. I like birds, and I like big birds.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that he was weird. And I'm not a huge fan of the dogs, not even Doug. They're fine, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You know what we should do for our next video? Both of us should watch Up, because we both haven't seen it in forever, and kind of like talk about it. That would be cool.
We could, yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, it's higher up there because of my memories of the film. I don't know how it would be if I watched it now, but for now, it's up pretty high because I remember loving it.
Yeah, I remember like if you play the music from the first 10 minutes, like I can tell right away, Up. You know, and not that many films can do that. You know, I don't know the soundtrack of Finding Dory. Like, I don't know. I love when a film does that. It makes it so iconic. I don't know. I like that. I really like music. So, for number 6, Finding Nemo. I said already, I love the world. I love the characters. I don't want to repeat myself. So, what do you have?
For number 6, I have Inside Out.
Okay, nice.
I really like Inside Out. It is really creative. It's an idea that I hadn't really thought of before. Like I'm now finding out that there were other films, like shorter films, that in the past that explored similar concepts, but I had never seen this before, and I really like the world that they built inside the mind of Riley, and I really like the characters. I really like Amy Poehler, so that's like. That elevated it even higher. I think she's hilarious, and I thought she was absolutely perfect casting for Joy. I can't think of the woman's name who played Sadness. I know she was a character in Office. I think that she and Amy Poehler were like perfect casting for the lead characters in this movie, and I loved them in this.
I do love Inside Out because, I mean, it's clearly higher up on my list, but I like that we both kind of have similar films right now, like in our top 10, definitely. It's not like, you know, we have Cars 2 in the top 5, you know. We both have sort of similar. For Inside Out, for me, it just felt very relatable because I moved in my life a lot. Like, this is the first time I lived in a place for more than 5 years, but before that, I've always, every 4 years, I would move. So I would relate, like, even since I was a kid. So I related a lot to Riley in a way. Like, that scene where she comes back and hugs her parents, I was crying. And I also love the scene where Joy is, like, looking back at the memories and, like, you know, she's crying because she's, you know, just the end. The one thing that I'm going to get hate, it's fine. I do not like Bing Bong. When he died, I didn't care. I was like, I thought, honestly, for like it was going to be the plot twist that he was going to be the villain. Because he was weird. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like he was going to be like, haha, I mean, like, you know, tricking you guys. That's why I didn't feel bad when he died. Because I was like, oh, I thought he was going to be the villain. Awkward. I don't know. But I know everyone loves him. But
I didn't love Bing Bong. I
yeah.
did find it kind of emotional when he died, but like I didn't feel like as heartbroken as I know a lot of people have felt
Yeah,
when
a lot
he
of people were
died.
like,
But I didn't think he was the villain. I just thought he was this weird character, and it was sad that he died, but I got over it.
I don't know. I really like Inside Out. I don't know. I again, it's very high on my list, but I feel like the part with joy and sadness could have been better. Like, I don't know how. It's just that some parts of the story I wasn't like that interest. I was more interested to what was happening to Riley actually, but I do love the creativity, like how they come up with, like, for example, I don't know, like the happy memories and the explaining of everything, how they make the world build, or like how they create, like, you know, family world. And I love where the imagination lands, or when they have oh my gosh, one of my favorite things, like when they have a song stuck in their mind, like all those little things. I love how they explain that. It was super creative, and I love that. So yeah, it's very high up on my list. I love Inside Out, but I do think it has some flaws. So now we're gonna go with 5. Okay, I have Inside Out. Wow, okay. So you had it for 6 and I had it for 5. So that's like probably one of the closest ones we've done. Yeah, like I said, Inside Out, it's great, emotional, cry. But also it's entertaining. It has a lot of people didn't like it actually, from what I hear, but I think it was very deep, and I like that, you know, it wasn't like just a kids film. I feel like it went for adults too, and it was enjoyable for everyone. Yeah.
For number 5, I have The Incredibles. This is one of the earlier ones, and not many of the early ones made their way up quite this high. So
yeah,
the animation is not perfect, but I think that the story elevated it far beyond the limits of the animation. I think the characters were great. I think the story was very well written. I like superheroes, so I really liked that one. I feel like The Incredibles kind of started the whole superhero renaissance.
Oh, yeah.
It and Spider-Man. Like, those two movies, I think, really were like the driving force behind like Marvel becoming a thing.
For sure.
But like everything about it pushed it even beyond what a superhero movie is. And I think it's super creative. I love the characters. I think it's funny. It's such a good movie, and I really like it. That's why it's at number 5 for me.
I totally agree with you. Like, literally, it's really good. And I can't believe they waited so long to do a sequel. Like, it was just one of the most anticipated. Like, we had all these car sequels. Like, although you do like it, it's not like there was demand for that. Yeah. And the Finding Dory, although it was good, not that many people were asking for it. But like the one movie that everyone was like, can we have a sequel? It took like 10 years. I'm like, I don't know. Do you think there will be a third one?
I hope so. I don't know if there will be, but I'm hoping there will be.
Brad Bird was like, oh, I want to take some time. I was like, no, don't take time. It took like a 10-year, like, no. And I think, I don't know, it's just they finished the second one in a way that kind of hints. It's not like, oh, like 2 straight 3, where it's like, this is it, I'm satisfied with it. No, like they're like, okay. And the Underminer wasn't, what's the word? Hasn't been found. So I mean, there you go.
That's actually good though, because John Ratzenberger, he's like, I think they've called him Pixar's Lucky Charm. He's like in every film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they couldn't like get rid of the Underminer because he's got to come back. He's got to make some appearance in all the Incredibles movies, probably.
So what's the next number?
4. For 4, I have the Incredibles 2. Okay. Like you had that higher, so did I.
Oh my God! Not that many people think like us.
Yeah, well, I agreed with you on like pretty much everything you said about it, but maybe like you said, maybe it's because I just watched this one, and that's the reason I feel like I like it more. But like, I loved it. There was so many good parts. I loved Edna. I loved Jack and the raccoon. That scene, that is like some of the most brilliant, I think you call it pantomime filmmaking, like no
Yeah.
dialogue, just the expressions on their face, the way they were reacting to each other. That scene was so brilliant and hilarious, and I just like that is one of my top favorite Pixar scenes of any movie.
Really?
Jack and the Raccoon. It's so funny and brilliant.
No, I
And
love that scene with when Violet sees the guy and like she spills like the stuff from her nose. That made me laugh out loud so much. It's like, oh my gosh, I've
they
been there.
really did well with the humor in this one.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely more
and
funny than the first one.
and the creativity with the other superheroes. I really liked the other superheroes' powers
Hmm.
too. Like there was so much in this that I loved, and I loved the first one, but I think just looking at them now, I would choose to watch The Incredibles 2 again rather than The Incredibles, which is
Hmm.
why I put it higher on my list. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, the my only problem is like I wish we had seen more of the other characters, like the other superheroes. Like we saw Boyd, and I thought she had like the coolest superpowers ever,
Mhm.
but I feel like we didn't see much of them. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a fun film, you know. Like Incredibles one, it's great, but I feel like it's more like slow and like this one is just like more fun. I would say also because of the humor. So they're
Mhm.
both good, but it's just I think the second one is more rewatchable, at least for me.
So what was your number four?
Number four, Ratatouille.
Okay.
I just think this film it was actually my number one for a long time.
Me
It's
too.
gorgeous. It's so different from any other Pixar film. It feels more artistic, more indie, like from the
Yeah.
style, the aesthetic, and I love the story. It makes you hungry because oh my gosh, the food looks delicious.
They did
Um,
so well with the food
so
animation.
well. And I love the story. I think the story is great, and I love the characters. That
Yeah.
guy with the weird thumb, like he's just weird and funny. I don't know. I think it's a very solid film. Really
Yeah.
solid.
I have Ratatouille at number three, so we can move on to number three and I'll talk about it too. Yeah.
Okay.
I love this movie. It is one of my top. It's been in my top three ever since it came out. I think when it came out I probably would say that it was number one. But like I feel like most movies are like that. Like when I leave the theater, it's like this is the best movie ever, and then as time goes on, then I realize I see more of the flaws. But like Ratatouille has stayed up there for all these years. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. I love the story. I think it's so creative. Like I like cooking, and I think I related to that with him. Like when I was younger, I said I wanted to be a chef. Like one
Mm.
of my first email addresses was budding chef. So, and I've liked cooking ever since, and I
Mhm.
really liked that they made that a focus of an animated movie. It was weird that it was a rat that wanted to be a chef, but I liked that it was weird. Like I like
Mhm.
weird things, like something you
Yeah.
don't normally see, and Pixar does well with that.
Mhm.
Um,
Take a
yeah,
risk. Yeah.
it was just creative and fun, and I loved it.
So for number three, actually, I'm seeing my list and I'm gonna change it. It's mm, okay. For two and three, they're like the same, honestly. But for three, I have Toy Story 3.
Okay.
It's very high up for me. Again, it's just I think it's hard to finish a trilogy. How many times have we seen it where they're like they mess it up and they screw it? It's very common in like films, not just animation. When they do okay in the second one and the third one, is like because it's hard to tie the knot, in a franchise. It's
Hmm.
hard, and I think they do it this one in such a wonderful way. It touches all the heartstrings, the flow of the story. It's super entertaining, original, and fun. Very relatable. Animation gorgeous. I just think they did a wonderful job. And the villains, oh my god! And Barbie and Ken, yes,
I loved Barbie and Ken.
they were perfect. And it was Judy Benson, the voice of Ariel, so that's another plus.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's my number three. What do you have for three?
that was Ratatouille.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
you had said
but
that for four, so I just went on and
yeah,
said three.
and so for number two, I have Coco. And oh my gosh, I could do like a 5-hour video why I love Coco so much. I'm Hispanic, I'm biased to this film. Although I'm not Mexican, there's some things about the cultures that we share a lot in the Hispanic culture. So this film was very relatable to me. And I love that I learned about a holiday I didn't know much before.
Yes.
And I learned that in such an easy way.
Yes.
And it was so clear. And there was so much heart in this. I've seen this film 3 times. I have cried the 3 times. That's not common for me. The scene that gets me the most, like, I remember watching this in theaters and I had to hold my breath because I know if I like was breathing, I was gonna start like sobbing. It was when it's Coco, Hector and Emilia when they're crossing the bridge, and the song. I know that I've seen the film 3 times in Spanish, so I don't know the name of the song in English. Something beating of the heart or something like that. I think it's in English. The last song, pretty much, when they're crossing the bridge. Oh my God, it's the most beautiful thing, and I just think it's brilliant story. It has so much heart. Of course it has flaws. I do 100% agree it has story flaws, but dang, like there's so many twists and turns, and it's just a celebration and a love letter to the Mexican culture. And I think Pixar has done nothing like this before, and I love that. It's, they didn't do it for the money. They did it because they actually wanted to show respect to a culture, What do you think?
For number 2, I also have Coco.
Yay!
Honestly, my top 3, I had a really hard time deciding what order to put them in because I love them so much. But Coco, like when it first came out, like I said before, Coco I put up as number 1 when it first came out. But as it went on, I realized I liked this other one a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I loved Coco so much. It's like at least in America, we don't get many movies about other cultures.
No.
And I loved that they brought in like a holiday that we know the name of, but we don't know what it's about really. And I love that they taught us about this other culture, this other holiday in such an easy, understandable way. And then on top of that, beyond just like the educational aspect of it, the fact that they gave us so many amazing characters. And so the writing, the story they gave these characters was so good that just everything about it, like all the twists coming up toward the end, just like mind-blowing. Every time you find out something new, it's like, oh my word, this is amazing. And I do not cry at movies. It takes a lot to even get a single tear out of me, like for my eyes to even well up. This one, I didn't like full on bawl, but like I had tears coming down my cheeks towards the end of this movie. And that does not happen for any movies for me. Like it takes a lot to like actually seriously affect me. And the fact that this one actually got tears out of me says something big about this movie, I think. I thought it was amazing. Gorgeous. The animation is gorgeous. The character designs are gorgeous. I loved all the creatures. Just everything about this movie was amazing.
Yeah, I remember when I was watching this first time, I had accidentally spoiled myself that Hector was the grandpa. And I was like, oh, okay, then I'm going to know everything. That kind of sucks. But I went there and there were still so many twists and turns and like that I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. For example, when I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to kill Hector? Because it seemed like it was going to happen at one point. I was like, well, if they kill him, I'm going to walk out. I'm going to be mad. There were so many moments I was on the edge of my seat, or when like they're dropping the picture and like it falls on the water and you're like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do now? It was so much like emotions. It was so great. And I don't know, and I don't know, I'm just so happy to hear that you liked it, because I have the bias that I'm Hispanic, and so like I felt like many non-Hispanics didn't like it, and I felt because they didn't get it, or they didn't, I don't know. A lot of people were like, it's fine, it's okay, whatever. And I was like, but it's so good.
It's a good movie no matter where you're from.
Exactly.
It's just so brilliantly written. And the animation and colors and designs and characters.
The bridge. Can we talk about that bridge? Oh my gosh, it was so creative. So wonderful. So yeah, I'm so happy with it. And I think we both have the same number 1.
Yes, we do.
Wally.
Yes.
Yeah. So funny thing. Also, I'm so excited that our top 2 are the same. That's so funny. Wally, actually, I saw it for the first time literally like 2 months ago, because Yeah, I know, this is crazy. When it came out, I don't know, it didn't intrigue me. I was like, I'm not gonna watch that. It looks boring because I heard there was no dialogue. I was like, I'm not gonna watch that. And my boyfriend, he really liked it. And he was like, you should watch it, and it's really, you love animation, you should watch it. And I was like, no, that doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't appeal to me. I feel like it was gonna be like Up, like it was not gonna be my style. But then I was like, okay, let's watch it. So we watched like 2 months ago, and then by the end I was like, I've been missing out so much. This like Wally. Okay, I'm just gonna show this. Hello. Wally has become my favorite Pixar character. It's just the story has so much heart, and I love the message. I don't know, it's just really, I love that it's definitely not for kids. It's just a lot of deep messages. It becomes, dark, and I was so here for it. But again, those 3 films for me are all kind of in the same place, but in different ways. They're all good in their own way. So it was very hard to pick which one. It's just Wall-E. I don't know, maybe because I watched recently-ish also, but I think it's a very, very solid film. Really, really amazing. And I was like, it was so charming, really, really charming, and it's so creative. The fact that they don't speak for half of the film, that's not easy to be involved in a story that there's no dialogue. So what do you think?
I like everything you said about it. That's how I feel. I loved that there was no dialogue in most of the movie. If they had made the whole movie without dialogue, I probably would like it even more, because they did it so well. Just the way they were able to get emotion and feeling and portray things through these non-speaking robots was just brilliant. Their designs were so brilliant. Like, they couldn't be different from each other, but they gave them such unique designs and were still able to convey their feelings through the robots. Just everything about it was perfect. The animation was gorgeous. Even like the horrible state of the earth was beautiful in its in its dystopianness. Just everything was so well designed. I loved the music. I think it does, once you get onto the axiom and like the humans, it falters a little bit, but not enough that
I agree.
Not enough that it takes anything away from it. Just, I love Wall-E. Like, Wall-E and Eve are like 2 of my favorite characters in Pixar.
Yeah.
Like, I have the Funko Pops. I have the Funko Pop keychains. I should have like got them and set them up here so you could see them. But they're like, I don't buy a whole lot of merch for things.
Same.
But like, when I found out that there were Funko Pops of them, I wanted those Funko Pops. I love them. They're such great characters. It's such an amazing movie. Just everything about it is great. I feel that, like I said, I feel that way about like my top 3. It's really hard for me to put them in any specific order, but like, if someone sat me down and said, you must choose a favorite, I would pick Wall-E.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Wall-E overall has the big eyes. He has a little bit more expression, but like, they're robots, and the fact that they don't have like facial expressions and they still convey so much feelings, like by just holding hands.
Done.
It's wonderful. It's so creative, and I don't know. I just feel, like this is a film that I love the films when they do it, and it's not because of the money. You can clearly see it's like, we're gonna do something artistic, and we're gonna do something with a message, and because we are passionate about it, not because we want to make a lot of money. Probably it's not gonna make that much money or sell that much merchandise, but we're gonna tell this story, and I think those are one of the best films, and it really shows.
I agree.
So yeah, oh my gosh, we actually agreed on a lot of things. I'm actually surprised about that, because we both have kind of like controversial, like, picks. And so it's like, okay, I kind of feel good that I'm not the only one that thinks, Incredibles 2 is maybe better, It's kind of cool. So this was our video. Thank you so much for watching. We talked a lot. I don't know how I'm going to edit this. This might just be like a podcast kind of thing instead of like a video. But if you guys want to watch more of Jonathan, tell us more about where to find you.
Well, I have a channel. It's called I Heart Animation. Like, my main thing right now is exploring more obscure films. Sol is going to be a guest on my channel. We're going to be talking about a movie that she chose called Barbie Fairytopia Mermaidia. And I thought we had a great discussion about it. It was one of her favorite childhood films, and I thought it made for a really interesting discussion.
It
So
was.
if you want to check that video out, you can come to my channel. That'll probably be up. I don't know when your video is going to go up, but mine's probably not going to go up till next week. I have 2 jobs and I work all week, so I'm not going to be able to get to it.
No rush. Yeah.
But it will be up there eventually if you want to come and check it out.
And I'll link it in the description down below for sure. So.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming to my channel. I haven't posted in like 2 months, so it's a nice comeback to talk about this. I've been wanting to do this video for so long, so I'm really happy it was with another fellow animation fan, and that we both like have our top favorite ones. So it's really cool.
I'm kind of surprised we had like our top 2 were exactly the same.
I know. Well, fun fact, actually, if you see my list right now, it was Toy Story 3, then what was it? Then Wall-E, then Coco. But then I was like, no, it's not. So then it's like I changed it in the spot, and it became Wall-E, Coco, Toy Story 3.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that was it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.